What if your DJI Mini 5 Pro could become safer and fly longer at the same time? So, in my last Mini 5 Pro comparison video against the Lito X1, this happened. The drone was side-tracking close to the forest, clipped branches on the side and dropped straight into the grass. And honestly, that surprised me a lot, because the Mini 5 Pro tracking is actually really good, especially compared to the most drones in this size class. But this crash also showed something very important. Even a smart tracking drone can still struggle with side obstacles, especially in places like forests, tight trails or areas with lots of branches. Luckily, the drone survived, only some small marks on the propeller blades. But after that crash, I started thinking, maybe the Mini 5 Pro needs a little more protection for this kind of flying. So I started looking around to see if DJI actually makes something for exactly this problem. And that is where these come in. The quick release 360 propeller guards. But there's also a downside. The moment you install them, I guess the drone becomes heavier and less efficient. Which is exactly one reason why DJI also makes the Intelligent Flight Battery Plus. So today we are going to test if these accessories actually improve the Mini 5 Pro, or if they just make it bigger, heavier and less practical. I want to see how much weight the guards add, how the drone handles with them, if braking changes, if the drone becomes louder. And of course, if these prop guards actually help when flying close to obstacles. And later, we are also going to test how much extra flight time the Plus battery really gives you, with and without the prop guards installed.
So let's take a closer look at the quick release propeller guards. Each package comes with a full set of 4 guards, and as you would expect from DJI, everything is packaged really nicely. The guards are even connected to each other with small magnets right out of the box. Once you pull them apart, you get 4 individual pieces. The guards themselves are completely round and have a diameter of exactly 13 centimeters. The propeller blades are fully integrated and cannot be removed. Everything is built as one complete unit. And as you can see, the cage fully surrounds the propellers from the top, bottom and of course from the sides as well. One thing that immediately stood out to me is the propeller blade design itself. These look like completely different from normal mini propellers. They almost look like little machetes with these aggressive forward swept tips. And this design is not just for looks. It helps improve aerodynamics, but it also supposed to reduce noise level. And of course, we are going to test that in a minute as well. Now, naturally, these guards also add quite a bit of weight. One single guard weighs around 15.5 grams, which means all 4 together increase the total weight of the drone by roughly 62 grams. And that changed things quite a bit, because with the guards installed, the Mini 5 Pro is now well above the 250 gram limit at roughly 300 to 305 grams depending on the setup. So at this point, this is no longer really a classic mini drone anymore, and in many countries it also moves into a different flight category with stricter regulations. The size also changed quite dramatically. With the prop guards installed, the Mini 5 Pro grows to around 357 by 280 by 90 millimeters, which is honestly pretty massive for a mini drone.
Before we install the prop guards, there is one important thing you need to know. Your Mini 5 Pro needs the latest firmware version, or at least 01000400. DJI explicitly states that flight stability cannot be guaranteed with older firmware versions installed, and you will see and understand in a second why. These guards are not just random accessory, the drone actually needs software support for them.
Alright, now let's install them. The first step is removing the original propellers. Mine are still pretty damaged from the crash anyway, so they need replacement regardless. Just press the propeller down slightly, rotate it a few degrees, and that's it. Classic quick mount system, simple and fast. Now, before installing the prop guards themselves, we first need to look at the color markings. Some guards have orange markings and others have gray markings. And you can find the exact same markings on the drone motors. That is because the propeller rotates in different directions. Orange spins counterclockwise, gray spins clockwise. Now I grab one of the prop guards and press into the cage from above using my thumb and index finger. Next to the propellers, there are 2 small clips. One for the thumb and one for the index finger. With a little pressure, the clips open up. And now comes the important part. At each arm under the motor there are two small recessed mounting points, one on the front and one on the back. Now we place the small opening underneath the prop guards onto the mounting pin of the motor and make sure both clips align perfectly with those recessed slots. Once everything is aligned, simply release the clips. And just like that, the quick release propeller guard is mounted under the arm. Now we repeat the exact same process for the remaining arms, and once all 4 guards are installed, the Mini 5 Pro is ready to fly. One important thing though, with the prop guards installed, the drone can no longer be folded, so for transport you absolutely need to remove the guards again.
So once we power on the Mini 5 Pro, the drone automatically performs a propeller check to make sure everything is working correctly. If the prop guard are not installed properly, you immediately get an error message directly in the HUD of the controller and takeoff will actually be blocked.
And once the drone is in the air, you also receive a warning that the Mini 5 Pro is no longer operating under the usual regulations like the European C0 category because the total takeoff weight and flight characteristics have changed significantly. But now the important question is, how do these prop guards actually affect the flight performance? So first, let's do a quick sound test. Right now there is basically no wind and the sound meter is placed directly next to the drone, and we can see a maximum reading of around 81 decibels. For the second test we move 1 meter away from the drone. Here we're getting peaks of around 67 decibels. And for the final test, we move 5 meters away. At this distance, the sound meter shows around 60 decibels. So overall, compared to the standard propellers, there is honestly not a huge difference in noise level. Even DJI rates the normal setup at around 81 decibels as well. Now, according to DJI, you should avoid flying these prop guards in windy conditions. So naturally, that is exactly what we are going to do. And just like with the DJI Flip, it is pretty obvious that these large surfaces give the wind much more area to push against. Today is not extremely windy, but we still have gusts of around 40 km per hour and an average wind speed around 20 km per hour. And immediately you can see the Mini 5 Pro moving around a lot more. Compared to the normal propellers, the drone is constantly fighting the wind and looks far less stable in the air. And the braking behavior changes as well. The drone glides much farther before stopping and braking distance becomes noticeably longer, which is definitely something you need to keep in mind when flying with these guards installed. Now let's climb a little higher and test flying both with and against the wind in different sport modes. When flying with the wind, the Mini 5 Pro gets pushed forward very aggressively and keeps drifting much farther than expected. And even while hovering sideways to the wind, the extra surface area becomes a real problem and the drone starts drifting laterally quite heavily. It becomes surprisingly difficult to fly precisely in these conditions. But the biggest difference becomes obvious when flying directly against the wind. Even in sport mode, the Mini 5 Pro struggles to generate enough forward thrust. At times, the drone only manages around 1 or 2 meters per second forward speed in relatively light wind conditions. And honestly, in these conditions, the prop guards are barely usable. So if you want to use them, it is definitely better to either fly much lower or only in very calm weather conditions. But to be fair, that is not really what these guards are designed for anyway. So now let's take a look at what they are actually supposed to do.
So now we are back on the same dirt track next to the forest. Lightning conditions are a little different today, but otherwise everything is basically the same. And as you probably remember, this is exactly where the Mini 5 Pro crashed during the Mini 5 Pro versus Lito X1 comparison, because it failed to properly detect the branches on the side. And honestly, I'm a little nervous right now, because DJI clearly stated the obstacle sensing performance can actually become slightly reduced with the prop guards installed. But alright, let's do it!
Active track on, side tracking enabled, and here we go. And surprisingly, the tracking works perfectly fine. This time the drone clearly detects the tree, briefly switches into follow mode, flies around the obstacle, and then moves back into the side tracking position. Absolutely flawless. Now let's increase the speed a little bit and see if we can force another crash. Same position, same side tracking mode. But this time I'm running to make things more difficult. And again, perfect detection. The tree and branches are recognized correctly. The drone switches into follow mode, avoids the obstacle, and then returns back into side tracking position. So yes, test successfully. But honestly, I would not say this has anything to do with the prop guards themselves. So now we need to bring our heavier artillery and actively force the drone into collisions. Back in the garden, I use my old clothesline. So now we are going to fly directly into it with obstacle sensors disabled. Honestly, I'm really surprised. As you can see, the Mini 5 Pro handles light impact and obstacle contact surprisingly well with these prop guards installed. But what is even more interesting is how the software reacts. You can literally see the drone dynamically adjusting propeller speed after impact to stabilize itself. The flight controller actively adjusts the propeller rotation dynamically to keep the drone stable after collision. And honestly, that is pretty impressive. But alright, what happens if we push things even further and fly directly into leaves and branches? Well, time for the bush test. And seriously, do not try this at home. Later you will understand why. But honestly, this is absolutely insane. With the prop guards installed, the Mini 5 Pro handles branches and leaf contact surprisingly well. Sure, the drone wobbles around quite a bit afterwards, but it does not immediately crash or get stuck in the branches. And that is actually really impressive. But still, be careful, because those wobbling recovery movements are not really predictable and can absolutely create new problems afterwards. So at this point, there's really only one big question left: power consumption. Because once you install the prop guards, the entire behavior of the Mini 5 Pro changes quite a bit. The drone triggers return to home much earlier, usually at around 30% battery remaining, and especially in windy conditions, these guards drain the battery surprisingly fast. But luckily, DJI also has a solution for that: the Intelligent Flight Battery Plus. Compared to the normal 2788 mAh battery, this one offers 4680 mAh, 33.5 Wh and 7.16 volts. And officially DJI rates it for up to 52 minutes of flight time with regular props. Now realistically, once we factor in actual flight behavior, wind and the early return to home warnings, I ended up getting somewhere around 42 to 45 minutes in real world use with regular props. Which is still honestly pretty impressive. Now, of course, the battery also adds more weight, but let's be honest, at this point we already completely destroyed the whole sub 250 gram idea anyway, so a few extra grams really do not matter anymore. The normal battery weighs around 70 grams, while the Plus battery comes in at roughly 116 grams. So now let's take a look at the real hover flight time when the prop guards installed. And just like with the prop guards themselves, the DJI Fly immediately shows a warning message that a different battery type is being used and that flight regulations may change depending on your country. Conditions today are basically ideal, no wind, backyard environment and very little outside influence overall. Now, if we look at the flight time estimate in the top right corner, we can see that we are getting around 25 minutes of estimated flight time in this configuration. Realistically, once you subtract return to home reserve, you are probably looking at around 20 usable minutes before things start becoming critical. And finally, let's also quickly talk about charging times. The Plus battery can either be charged directly inside the Mini 5 Pro itself or through the charging hub. And charging speed depends massively on whether you are using DJI's 65-watt charger, which honestly is a very good investment anyway, or just a normal 18-watt phone charger. With a 65-watt charger, charging takes around 100 minutes directly inside the drone or roughly 90 minutes in the charging hub. Without it, you are realistically looking at somewhere around 2.5 or 3 hours of charging time.
So after testing all of this, I honestly understand these accessories much better now. The prop guards definitely changed the Mini 5 Pro quite a bit. The drone becomes heavier, less efficient, much worse in windy conditions, and honestly, this is no longer really a mini setup anymore. With the prop guards and the Plus battery installed, the whole setup weighs around 350 grams. So at this point, we are talking about a completely different kind of drone compared to the original sub 250 gram concept. But at the same time, these guards actually work surprisingly well, especially during the collision test. I was genuinely impressed by how well the drone handled contact with branches and obstacles without immediately crashing. And even more interesting was the software behavior afterwards. You can clearly see that DJI adapted the flight controller for these guards instead of just selling them as a random accessory. And that honestly makes a huge difference. Now, obviously, these prop guards are not for everyday flying. I would never use them for normal cinematic quick flights or windy conditions. But for tighter spaces, forests, bushes, indoor flying or risky tracking shots, I can absolutely see the point now. And honestly, after seeing the Mini 5 Pro surviving those branch collisions, I would definitely trust them more around obstacles than before. The Plus battery also makes a lot of sense in this setup, because once you install the prop guard, battery life suddenly becomes much more important. And the extra flight time from the Plus battery basically turns this from a fun experience into something that actually feels practical. So overall, these accessories definitely do not make the Mini 5 Pro crash-proof, but they absolutely make it more forgiving. And after the crash from the last video, that suddenly matters a lot more to me now. Alright guys, that's it for today. I hope this test will help you understand what these accessories are actually capable of. And as you can see, not every test goes perfectly smoothly. But honestly, that is just part of doing real stress tests. Sometimes things survive, sometimes things break. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, smash that like button and subscribe to the channel. And now I really want to know what you think about the prop guards and the Plus battery. Would you actually use this setup, or does it completely ruin the whole idea of a mini drone? Let me know down in the comments. And now, remember to disconnect. Enough YouTube for today. Grab your drone and go fly yourself. See you in the next one. Take care. Have a good day. See you. Bye bye.